From foster kid to NFL star, the story of Jimmy Graham, abandoned as a child, raised in a group home, bullied, forgotten, alone. But today, he's an NFL legend, one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game. This is the unbelievable, inspiring journey of Jimmy Graham, from a foster kid with nothing to a man who built everything. Because sometimes greatness comes from the darkest places, and the most painful past becomes fuel for something extraordinary. Jimmy Graham was born in Goldsboro, North Carolina. From an early age, his life was marked by struggle. By middle school, he had already faced more trauma than many endure in a lifetime. At just 11 years old, his mother, overwhelmed and unable to cope, placed him in a group home. It wasn't a home. It wasn't love. It was a government facility. Cold, isolated, institutional. He became just another number, a forgotten child. Bullied, beaten by older kids, emotionally crushed. He felt invisible, unwanted. But even in those moments of fear and rejection, Jimmy held on to a single belief: I'm not going to be a victim of my circumstances. He didn't know how, but he knew he had to find a way. Everything began to change when Tammy Hashem came into his life. She wasn't a social worker or a foster parent. She was a volunteer, a woman with a heart big enough to see a lost child and do something about it. Tammy didn't just give Jimmy a roof over his head. She gave him structure, rules, accountability, and above all, love. She offered stability, encouragement, and consistency. For the first time, he had someone who believed in him. Family dinners, homework help, a curfew, a hug when he needed it. That sense of belonging changed Jimmy. He threw himself into sports. Basketball became his therapy. He was tall, strong, and explosive. But beyond physical talent, basketball gave him something deeper: purpose. Tammy gave him the belief. Basketball gave him the outlet. And together they gave him a future. By high school, Jimmy was a force on the court. His hard work paid off. With a full scholarship to the University of Miami, a dream that had once seemed impossible was now within reach. At Miami, he played 4 years of Division I basketball. But while others saw a possible future in the NBA, Jimmy had another idea. One that seemed crazy the most. He wanted to play football. He had never played organized football, but he had the size, the toughness, the drive. In his 5th year of college, Jimmy walked onto the Miami Hurricanes football team. He had one season to prove himself, one shot, and he made the most of it. NFL scouts quickly took notice, and in 2010, the impossible happened. Jimmy Graham was drafted by the New Orleans Saints. Most rookies need time to adjust. Jimmy didn't. By his second season, he racked up over 1,300 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns. He wasn't just succeeding, he was dominating. He was too fast for linebackers, too big for safeties, a matchup nightmare, a human highlight reel, one-handed catches, acrobatics in the end zone, game-winning moments. Jimmy made it look easy, but it never was. He went on to play for the Saints, Seahawks, Packers, and then returned to New Orleans. Along the way, he made 5 Pro Bowls and totaled over 8,000 receiving yards. But his story wasn't just about numbers. It was about proving that your past doesn't have to define your future. It was about redemption. Off the field, Jimmy kept pushing boundaries. He became a licensed pilot. Flying gave him peace, control, a way to escape the weight of his past, literally and emotionally, and he gave back. To foster children, to at-risk youth, to the ones society often overlooks. He became a voice for the voiceless. He spoke openly about his pain, his scars, the nights he cried in silence, but he never let those moments break him. They built him. Jimmy knows what it means to rise from nothing, to break cycles, to rewrite your story. His message is clear. You can't control how your story starts, but you can decide how it ends. He chose not to be angry, not to be bitter, but to become better. And that choice is what made him a legend, not just for the touchdowns, but for the hope he brings to every child in foster care, every teen who feels unloved, every person carrying pain they can't explain. Jimmy's life says, you are not your past. You are your potential. From a forgotten boy in a cold institution to a man flying above the clouds. From being ignored to breaking NFL records, Jimmy Graham's life proves one thing. You don't need a perfect start. You just need a reason to keep going. No matter where you come from, you can rise, you can lead, you can win. From foster kid to NFL star, Jimmy Graham showed us what's possible. And now it's your turn. No excuses, just believe.